Hello, everybody. Welcome to Common Censored Live. Thank you for being here. It means a lot. We love to have you here. We're in this together. And I when I say that, I mean it. Unlike fucking corporate America that, you can Wells Fargo. We're in this together. Not really, but we'll put a sign out that says we are.
Wasn't that Hillary's slogan too? For better together or forward together or sideways together? Some shit.
I thought it was fuck everyone who's not me. Was it not?
That was the subtext.
It wasn't fuck everyone who's not me.
If you bought the tote bag, it was on there, but
welcome, everybody. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to cut through the corporate media crap with you. We are going to talk about a lot of topics, but we're also collecting donations for those who are in need. You can donate at the super chat on youtube.com/moment of clarity. You can also donate on rockfin.com/Lee Camp. And you can donate at Venmo. The name is @Lee Camp. We're going to get into the details of who those in-need people are and everything. We're going to explain it all, but I figure let's start off with a story. Let's start off with the very exciting new step that Joe Biden has taken to show us what a progressive and just wonderful human being he is. He's become presidential. He has bombed Syria. Your thoughts, go.
Banning Muslims is bad. Bombing them is good.
Hold on, let me write this down so I can remember it later.
Yes, everyone just write it down so you have it in your notes.
So banning Muslims, evil equals evil fascist.
Right. Yes.
Bombing Muslims,
solid.
Good democracy, freedom.
Solid policy. Yes.
Got it. Okay, cool.
But let's also not forget that these bombs were wrapped in pride flags. And they identify as she, hers. So
the bombs do.
That is super progressive, y'all. Just want to point that out.
I feel like the bombs should identify as they, them. They, them bombs. That's it. Well, that's the difference. Is under Trump, they were fucking his bombs.
Right.
And now they're they, them bombs.
Right. Yes.
That's the difference.
The Rainbow Cabinet dropped them, which I feel like that feels better, right? I mean, if I got bombed by a diverse group of people, I'd feel better for sure.
There you go.
No, obviously this is fucking horrifying. And I just want to take a moment to highlight something that I don't think is I get where people are coming from with this, but I think the framing is a little so a lot of people are pointing out that, this is what Biden has been doing. Instead of, for instance, canceling student debt, instead of, sending us those checks,
higher minimum wage,
anything that would actually help people as opposed to bomb people who are absolutely no threat to our safety whatsoever. But there's a few people that are like, Biden dropped bombs on Syria before he sent us checks. And it's like, maybe instead, because the timeline isn't really the problem. It's not like, oh, well, if he would have sent us checks first and then dropped bombs, that's all right. I feel like the framing needs to be, what the fuck are you doing, you imperialist warhawk piece of shit?
Right.
Not, if you would have done one thing first and then the other, I feel, you got the steps wrong.
Oh, I see. I thought the checks were to get our approval for bombing. I thought it was like, listen, folks, I give you $1,000. Just say yes to bombing. No, you're absolutely right. It should just be bombing. It's disgusting. It doesn't matter whether it comes before or after checks. But on top of that, you have the fact that he's claiming, they bombed this militia in Syria to get back at Iran for doing what? I don't know. The New York Times hilariously had a headline that said U.S. Air Force bombs Iran-backed militia. And then within the article, if you keep reading, it says no one or we don't know if Iran backs this militia. There is no evidence that Iran backs this. So it's like, well, you just said it in the fucking headline, asshole. But that's the level of propaganda. That's what New York Times have done. Manufactured consent for generations. I mean, this is not new to them. This is an old game. Game as old as empire. I don't know when the New York Times started, but I bet you they were fucking manufacturing consent since day one. And yeah, so this is, the bombing continues. And this goes with what, you and I have said so many times, which is the military industrial complex does not change depending on who is in that gilded tower. The military-industrial complex continues on. It is a massive machine of organized human murder, and it just continues unabated, no matter who's in that White House. And we're seeing it yet again. And so I don't know, will people ever wake up? Will they ever go, hey, it looks like things kind of continue the same as before, no matter who's in that fucking little Oval Room?
It's the Oval Office.
Wait, gotta write that down too.
So since we've got a bigger group
Should
here,
be called the Oval Orifice.
Ooh.
I mean, aren't they assholes?
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? No, but I think there are a lot of assholes. I mean, the assholes are a good thing. They're a good, necessary, I'd like to point out, part of the human anatomy.
I don't know why I didn't title this episode Eleanor Opines on Assholes.
You know what? I'm here for it.
So yeah, let's talk about where these donations are going.
Yes. So Lee, this was actually Lee's idea. But I
want to be in this together, and I mean it in this together. So
right.
this was the idea we're trying out.
So basically the idea is you all have, for folks who have been here before, you all know how it works. You donate via, I always want to say Snapchat, but that's not correct. It's Super Chat. Old Lady Goldfield.
Not Snapchat. Do not send us any vag photos or dick photos, please.
Okay. So y'all donate via Super Chat, and every week it's a different organization or a group or a collective or something like that. But we're starting something new where it's very much that mutualism of mutual aid, where y'all are donating so that other folks that watch this and listen to our podcast and watch Lee's Moment of Clarity are able to access funds for things that they're in need of. So it's the mutualism. So y'all are engaging in mutual aid by donating here. So that's where the donations are going to this week. And we can share some of, this was really stupid of me. I had it open on a Google Doc, which I then closed. But I remember it. But I'm not going to get into that. I just wanted to let you all know that's where the donations are going to. So it's not to a specific person or a specific organization. You're basically throwing money in a pot that can go to several different folks who reached out to us saying that they need some help with a variety of different expenses. And
for those of you, yeah, it's for people in need. And this isn't billions of dollars. The max would be $100. And it's anybody out there who, if you feel you're in need, you can email commoncensored@protonmail.com. That's COMMONCENSORED, commoncensored@protonmail.com. We've already gotten several people who, because I announced it on a previous live stream, we've already gotten several people who say, they're really in need. And all of the proceeds, none of it's going to us. All of it is going to people who could really use just a little bit of help. And that's the goal, is to, hopefully we can have this be a continuing thing. We can help each other. And, we will give you some of the details about, what it is that they need. But we're obviously not going to share names unless they ask us to. So feel free to email if you need some help. And the other thing is, everybody who donates today will get a free PDF of my book, Bullet Points and Punchlines.
Woo!
There it is. So,
like, you needed another incentive, y'all.
Come on. You'll get a free PDF, not the hard copy, because then I got to pay to mail it and all that shit. And I don't like going to the post office because it's awkward. You got to stand up with a mask on, all that shit. I don't know how the stamping system works. So you get a free PDF of my book. The full book will be sent to you as long as you email us so that we have your email. But yes, anybody who donates, you can donate on Super Chat. You can donate on rockfin.com/Lee Camp by clicking tip. You can donate on Venmo. At Lee Camp is the Venmo name.
Yes. So if y'all are watching this after the fact, you can donate at Lee Camp. So yeah, come on, y'all. Let's get some donations going for folks that could use a little support out there. And also, so y'all know, the selection is random. So it's not like we're sitting here being like, well, this person's more deserving than the other person. because let's fucking be honest, everybody deserves to not have to worry about expenses, and everyone deserves to thrive. So this isn't like what do they call that? Meritocracy. It's not about like us deciding that you merit it more than somebody else. No, there's none of that bullshit. And we're also not going to share like a bunch of like details, partially because we're not into like the trauma porn thing, but also because we are sharing it amongst several different folks.
But we'll share some.
We'll share some basic details.
Yeah,
but
some basic details, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think let me check my notes. Yes, that's it.
I think that's everything.
Okay.
And considering no one's donated yet, I'll take that as meaning you do not like this idea. But anyway, anybody? Whoa! All right, that certainly changed immediately.
I don't see it.
Thank you,
side.
thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Dan.
Can we get a rally going? Rally.
Nice. That's wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
And please remember that y'all are welcome to send in questions, things that you want us to talk about, or anything like that. So yeah, thank you so much, y'all. Let's keep this going. Yeah, Christine. Fuck
wow.
Yeah,
Christine, thank you.
Also, just want to highlight that y'all don't have to give like this much. If y'all have like $5 to give, that's totally fine. Like we want to build up those small donations as well. Not that I'm going to say no to the bigger ones, but you know.
What can we do to fight Joe Manchin?
Like physically?
Physically fight. So it's, you want to go left to the chin and then right to the belly. No, well, I'd say right to the belly.
Oh, okay.
To really throw them off.
You know, I had a
wow. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank
y'all.
you, J9.
I had a friend of mine who worked as a bodyguard, in LA, tell me that it only takes 8 pounds of pressure to break any bone in the human body.
Thank you, Trish.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Probably needs to be very clearly directed.
What? But yes, I mean, I can't. Like, if I just lean on you, 8 pounds worth, you're not going to break.
My elbow! Are
you calling me fat?
So to go back to.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Thank you, the Talishar.
Talishar.
To go back to what can we do to fight Joe Manchin? To fight any of these politicians, I think it just has to come down to mass mobilization, which is something, we talk about a lot. But something else I wanted to get into in this is not to really focus, and I know we say this, but I wanted to kind of dig a little deeper, not to just focus on trying to change Congress or trying to stop one politician, because honestly, we're at a level where the amount of change we need is beyond just voting out one congressperson, switching this, getting one more member of the squad in there. The level of change we need is immense. I mean, we're seeing it every day in our environmental destruction, in the destruction of lives. And so in order to achieve that kind of change, yes, you can spend 5 or 10% of your time talking about these politicians, as long as it's only 5% or 10% of your time. The problem is we are now spending 90% of our time talking about this politician or that one, and that actually works to stop change. If you're spending your time thinking about it, dealing with it, responding to it, then it works to stop change. So
thank you to it.
And I was thinking about this week because CPAC just happened. And obviously CPAC's in conservative conference. It's all these garbage human beings that get up there and say, we've got to stop the Mexican rapists coming across the border. And it's all that garbage. And it is just a pile of shit. And here's the thing, though. If you're spending all of your time yelling about what one person or other person said at CPAC, you've already lost. You are wasting your time dealing with that. And you can watch all of these other talking heads and personalities, and they spend whole episodes on what this person or that person said at CPAC or said on MSNBC or said on this. Whole 45-hour-long episodes. And it's like, you won't even remember what was said next week. It will be long gone from your mind. So what change was actually created by spending your time nitpicking what Ted Cruz said?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, to be clear, I'm sorry, I can't recall the name of the person who asked that. We're not saying that you're doing this. It was just a nice jumping off point to make this point. But it is, it's a good question, and the answer is kind of not that satisfying, I guess, because my answer would be look at the Supreme Court. So y'all remember when Kavanaugh was being put forward after Merrick Garland had been kiboshed by the Republicans. People were losing their goddamn minds and saying, "Oh my God, if Kavanaugh wins, this will be, outright fascist in the Supreme Court," which is ironic because this entire country is fascist. But but the pearl clutching and the hand wringing was really at an all-time high about this issue. But then I can't remember who.
Thank you, Blink.
I can't remember who did this original reporting, but they pointed out that, I can't remember, it's 91 or 93% of the time, above 90% of the time, Merrick Garland and Brett Kavanaugh, who were on the same bench, voted the same way.
Yep.
So you have this supposed, right-wing dangerous fascist. I'm not saying he's not, but then on the other side, you have this knight in shining armor, supposedly. And the fuckers voted together more than 90% of the time, which means that essentially they're on the same side. So
the corporate America side.
Right. So the thing is, like, and this is another point that was brought up that's a collective, but indigenous anarchists that were talking about Deb Haaland, for Deputy of the Interior, and that whole fight to get her confirmed for that role, and pointing out that, look, just having an indigenous person as the holder of power in a colonialist system is not a win, right? Because it's still that same colonialist system. Now, that doesn't mean that you could never have someone progressive making good choices in this system, but it means that the problem is the system. And the longer that we stand here and talk about whether this person who looks this way or identifies this way is better, or that person's worse, or whatever, we're not actually digging to the root causes of the system and the root rot of the system, which is really what we need to be focusing on. So that is, an important thing to keep in mind, and to not get stuck in this very quick turnover of news, right? This like 24-hour news cycle that pulls us away from the shit that takes longer. Like community organizing, mutual aid takes longer because it's about building relationships. It's about creating the structures that care for each other that don't exist inside of our system. So it really is something that can't be done in a 24-hour news cycle. And if we're just focusing on the 24-hour news cycle, then we're not focusing on the shit that really matters.
Well said. Well said.
Not mic drop, pen drop.
Pen drop.
That's the defense rests for the moment.
Well, it can only rest for a moment because we have a question for you. Thank you, T. Lewis, for the donation. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, T. Lewis and Lynn.
Let me see if I can find the question for you.
And yes, T. Lewis, it is time to use our imagination to not just look beyond capitalism, but to build beyond it. Indeed. How's it going?
Can't find it. Eleanor, can you explain? This is from Gamandi. Eleanor, can you explain in plain English the difference between, and there's a bit of a typo, so I might have this wrong, but the difference between self-determination and mutual aid versus electoral politics?
Sure. Electoral politics is working within the confines of a system that is based on oppression. And it is based on exploitation and destruction of both human beings and ecosystems. Self-determination and mutual aid is decentralized, which is the opposite of the centralized power structures that include the electoral politics system. Do it in Norwegian. I don't speak Norwegian, Nick. Come on, man.
Swedish, Nick. Swedish.
Swedish. It is a different language. I know some people will get those confused, but at least you didn't say Swiss, because that's not even. Anyway.
You'd rather he get it more wrong letter-wise.
No, I wouldn't. I was saying at least you didn't, Nick. I'm trying to be nice here. So yeah, so basically mutual aid is based on what you mentioned, which is self-determination. It's the idea that the community gets to decide what is best for the community. And it's grassroots, right? It's not this hierarchical system of top down. Like there are these people that are completely removed from your home place telling you what you need, how you should use it, all this other shit. This is about mutual aid and self-determination is the idea that you know what you need best and the community knows what they need best. And communities have different needs, right? Like the needs that we have here in DC are not the same as folks have down in the bayous or in Washington state. You know, needs are different. And this is something that is not allowed by the system, right? It's a very much like just monoculture. And I mean that like both in terms of how we treat the ecosystems, like monoculture crops, but also monoculture policy. Like this has to work for all of you and you all have to live under the same system. You all have to engage with the system the same way, which is electoral politics. So, I mean, the differences are basically all of them. And I mean, we could sit here and talk about that for like, the next forevers. but the idea is basically everything that the electoral politics system in under our capitalist colonialist structure is the opposite of what mutual aid is. And that is why when we talk about mutual aid, we talk about it being the future, right? Because we are literally building the world that we want to see. Oh, yay! Thank you, Chris. Solidarity and love back. The Bergmans up in so-called Vancouver. Love those folks.
Give a shout out for your podcast.
Yes, I do a podcast with Carla Bergman, and it's called Silver Threads, and it's totally rad. And if you're not familiar with Carla's work, please look her up. It's fucking phenomenal and so necessary. And also talks a lot about this issue that I've just hacked my way through. Because it's hard to read and then talk out of my brain.
It's a lot to process. But the more you guys comment, the more exciting it is. So True. Please throw out topics, throw out comments. Thank you, Julie.
The main problem is corruption and cruelty, no matter the system. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get rid of assholes, to circle back to an earlier point. But the idea is to build systems that don't pedestal them, right? That don't reward the assholery and the cruelty, as opposed to our current system, which rewards you the more sociopathic you are.
Right. And like so much of the cruelty in our society. So if you look at inequality as cruelty, if you look at poverty as cruelty, if you look at sending people into war zones that they have no understanding of or why we're there or what they're doing to kill or be killed, if you look at that as cruelty, so much, I mean, I'd say the vast majority of cruelty in our society comes down to the market system, the capitalist market system. We need to shift our socioeconomics, and people often separate the two and act like, oh, well, there's the way people behave on one side, and then there's capitalism, which is our economic system on the other side doing its stuff, and people behaving are over here, and capitalism. No, it's fucking intertwined, and it crafts the culture to fit with the socioeconomic system. I mean, it is the foundation that it's all built on. What were you gonna say?
Sorry, I was just gonna say.
Well, I was trying. That's how I hold. That's how I hold the thought.
But I didn't want to interrupt. So if you want to finish the thought, go.
Well, I mean, I mostly had it. It just it influences the way people behave on a daily basis. I mean, big things like what job you take, taking jobs you hate. That is all the capitalist system forcing you to do things you hate for wage slavery. It's basically, I mean, capitalism was supposed to be the progression beyond feudalism, but it's basically become feudalism. You take these jobs you hate. So it influences you on big ways, and big ways like that. It also influences you in small ways, slightly being meaner to a coworker because you're trying to get ahead of them and you don't want them to feel good or be rewarded because then that will hurt your chances to get ahead of them. Not giving to people, not giving to someone on a sidewalk because that you need that money for yourself in order to get by. And like all of those behaviors come down to our socioeconomic system. Now, in our heads, it has become so ingrained and so mapped on top of it that we believe our behaviors are all freedom, right? I was free to pick this job. I was free to enter into this wage slavery. That was my choice. We believe it's all free. It's not fucking freedom if you had economic force to do the goddamn thing.
Capitalism kills.
Pen drop.
Thank you. Capitalism kills empathy. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So
hold on, I'll hold the thought for you.
Well, and this is something that a bunch of writers and like great authors and thinkers have talked about in the past as well, including folks like Kropotkin and Bookchin. Have talked about how people like to use the excuse that, oh, human beings are just like this. Human beings are we're cruel and we fuck with each other for fun. And there's been plenty of debunking of this. Like, humans wouldn't exist if we couldn't collaborate, if we couldn't ensure that we could protect one another and look out for each other. Capitalism triggers the worst parts of humanity. Yes, those parts are there. Like if you asked me, would I be able to really hurt someone if it was called for? Of course, everyone would answer yes to that question. For a child, for a loved one, whatever, for your own safety. That's not the point. The point is, do you live in a system that triggers that need in you constantly, to hurt others in order to get ahead, or to really just survive in a base way? So I think that's the point, is that yes, human beings can be wonderful and beautiful beings. We have that capacity. It's why we're fucking here today. But capitalism is a structure that triggers the worst. So we need a structure that triggers the best in people,
right?
And that rewards the best in people. So I think that, and you can see this in practice too. There are peoples and cultures that have built this on smaller scales. So I think that we just have to dig for these examples and imagine them and build them. So,
absolutely. Let's see, Adam. Thank you for the donation, and you had a question about movement for a People's Party, or People's Party trying to reach out to Republicans by not having a progressive platform.
Nope.
I think that's a bad idea. I think you have to stand for something. And I think that now they have said that they are not declaring themselves socialists or capitalists because they do want people who don't understand that capitalism is at the root of their problems and believe in the religion of capitalism that we've been sold as Americans every day of our lives. They don't want to alienate all of them up top. And Martin Luther King said the same thing. He didn't at the beginning of each speech, say, hey, capitalists, leave the room. So I understand that, but to go out there and say, hey, we might be Republican, we might be progressive, who the hell knows? I think that is a bad idea.
You're never going to please everyone. So, and when you try, you end up pleasing no one, because the Republicans aren't going to like you because you're going to be too left. And then the true left, which is not liberals, are not going to like you either because you're fucking trying to court Republicans. So I think the important thing is that if you stand with people, then you will get people from both sides of this two-party system. I mean, I think this has been evidenced in a lot of places, including deeply red states, where you had Republicans that were really intrigued by what, for instance, Bernie Sanders was saying, who, by the way, is not like a leftist. He's progressive. But they were really intrigued because he was talking about issues. He was talking about how people shouldn't have to go bankrupt if they, have a medical need, which just makes sense to people, right? So when you talk about the issues, a lot of these distinctions do melt away. Now, of course, you're still going to have Republicans that are, red no matter what, and then the vote blue no matter who bullshit. So yeah, I mean, but you're not going to reach everyone. You're not going to make everyone happy. And I think there has to be an acceptance of that in building something that has any chance of being powerful or meaningful, really. And that goes for mutual aid groups too. It goes for everybody. It's like you have to draw a line somewhere. You can't invite like fascists into your space and be like, hey, you're part of our community. It's like, well, no, because your whole ideology is based on the genocide of huge swaths of humanity. So no, you're not welcome in our space. So lines do have to be drawn. And that's an important part of building and conceiving the world that we want to live in.
So guys, all the donations are going to all of you out there who might be in need. If you do feel you're in need of, $50, $100, that's kind of the max we're giving out. You can email commoncensored@protonmail.com. We've already gotten emails there of people, so we know that this money will be, well needed and well used. So you can donate, and all of the proceeds from this and the Rockfin, and you can also use Venmo at Lee Camp. All the donations are going to people in need. And did you want to share some vague details about what type of thing people were saying they need?
Sure, I'm going to try to remember because again, I had this open on my computer.
Hold on, this will help.
There are people that use that kind of like visualization stuff and meditation, like you think about a ball of energy between your hands, then your hands get warm. That won't help me remember details, but I just thought that it was an interesting little side note. Okay, so there were a couple of folks that reached out to us who needed necessary home repairs, particularly after the storm in Texas. There was another person who had, or a couple of people that had lost their job and were looking for any kind of help. Another person was trying to take care of their elderly father who's in a wheelchair and needs assistance.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much, Dave. And then there were some other folks that there was another person that needed help with some prescriptions and gas.
And of course, we could talk for 45 minutes on how lame it is for people to need money for subscriptions, but that is the world in which we live. So we're going to try and help them out. Why am I not seeing? Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Leopard.
Yeah, Leopard. Thank you, Leopard. Thank you guys for the donations. And everybody who donates, you will get a free PDF of my book, Bullet Points and Punchlines.
You got to email your email.
Email your email. If you just email commoncensored@protonmail.com and say you donated, I will send the PDF straight to you. Shouldn't take long to get it, but that is my book, Bullet Points and Punchlines. Got an intro by Jimmy Dore and a foreword by Chris Hedges, and I think you'd enjoy it. So that's for anybody who donates and then emails us.
Yes. So just a reminder, if you're watching this after the fact, you can Venmo at Lee Camp. And I don't remember the Rockfin.
Lee Camp. Rockfin.com/Lee Camp.
God, you're so unoriginal.
I know. I get very creative with the names, don't I?
And please, remember that y'all can throw questions at us. You can throw questions as part of the super chat. All the donations are helpful, and they all go to y'all that have reached out and asked for some little extra support. So, yes. Are you cruising the internet?
Yeah, I'm just checking out some porn on the internet. I am trying to look over at Rockfin to see what the comments are there, but we can keep going. I know that people are...
There's so many different... Thank you, VSM.
Thank you, VSM.
So many different platforms these days.
I can at least thank the people who tipped on Rockfin. Thank you, Joni. Thank you, Kim Storm. Thank you, Deha Ko. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you, John Hughes, George Prudent, Wit to Wit, Kim Storm. Thank you all for donating at rockfin.com/Lee Camp.
Thank you.
But yeah, so we can, unless anybody's got more topics, thank you, Natalie.
Appreciate it. The email is commoncensored@protonmail.com. Do we want to write that? Move your hand.
Hold on. I gotta highlight one more thing. Brian, this is not true. The story comes out at 10.
Touche. Well played, sir. The email that you can reach us at is this one. Oh shit. God, it's so hard. It's so awkward to type like this. Ugh. Okay. All right, there we go. So yes. Well, I guess I can dive into some vaccination talk.
Yes, so I'm sure this won't shock you, but the vaccination distribution in America is not equal.
It's racist as fuck, I believe that's a technical term.
I was using the term not equal, but another way to describe that would be racist as fuck.
Technical term.
And by the way, before we get into that, there is a doctor, an epidemiologist who has been completely right about everything about COVID, about where it's gone. He was one of the very few warning that we would see 500,000 deaths in America in the early months. He was saying that, and he's been absolutely right. Everyone said he was crazy. He's been absolutely right. And now he's saying that because of the variants that are now populating the U.S., sweeping through the U.S., he believes we're going to see a massive surge in the coming 6 weeks. So,
well, Debbie Downer. But
oh yeah, the rest of this story is going to be just a fucking ray of sunshine.
I know.
Ray of sunshine over here.
I know, but some good news is that this why I have such a hard time with that fucking word, y'all. Epidemiology. Okay, don't even.
Statistics? You like that one?
I can't say the word statistics. I'm literally not even fucking getting it. Also, I've only been having tea all day, so I just have never been able to say that fucking word. Nice workaround though, stats.
But at least when you say it, it sounds adorable.
Thank you. My goal in life is to be adorable. This might not come as a surprise to folks, but yeah, the vaccination rollout is inherently racist because the system is inherently racist. So funny how that works out, isn't it? So for instance, in New York City, the Gothamist pointed out that Black and Latino residents by and large suffer the highest death rates. And white residents in New York City are being vaccinated at 3 times the rate of Black and Latinx residents. In Philadelphia, here's another one, 44% of the city residents are Black, but they make up only 12% of those who have been vaccinated. This one in particular was just, in Baltimore, more than 60% of the people living in that city are Black. Only 5% of the people who've been vaccinated are Black. Holy shit sticks. That's fucking ridiculous. And there are basically, this is, it has to do, of course, with the inherently racist plan and the inherently racist system, and the fact that our system is for profit. And so, of course, the people who have access to even making appointments, there are, for instance, there are drive-through vaccination places. Well, what do you do if you don't have a car and they don't accept walk-ups, like people walking? Another thing that we've run into here in DC is the issue that even finding out that you're eligible for the vaccine is information that comes online. And if you don't have access to, I didn't notice it until somebody pointed it out on Twitter. Like the city of DC had tweeted it out, but that doesn't fucking help people who don't have access to the internet. And then of course you make your appointment online. You get confirmations online and all of this shit. You get the reminder for your follow-up vaccination. All of this shit happens online. And so this is a huge problem and guess what? It's predominantly Black and brown folks, BIPOC folks who don't have access to the internet. Overwhelmingly, the amount of, I don't remember what exactly the disparity was, but in terms of access to the internet, it's a pretty gaping chasm between white folks who have access to the internet and BIPOC folks. And I saw somebody point out, yes, of course it's a class issue, but it's also a race issue. And I think that it's important that we incorporate the lens of race when we talk about this, because otherwise we're not really talking about the whole story. So I think it's very important to incorporate that into how we're discussing this.
And also, obviously they don't know all the answers for why this system has ended up so racist, but
What do you mean? Which system?
Sorry, the system of vaccinating people.
Because our system is racist.
Yes, but
I see.
If I can get to the point, that
Let me cut you off.
That people of color, understandably, many of them, Black communities are wary of white America saying we need to inject you right now, and so there's some of that going on as well, which is completely understandable.
And I mean, this is also the issue is that there's also no centralized plan, right? And so this means that it's also often...
Which is the same for our entire socioeconomic system. But yes, go ahead.
And so it's really up to states to decide how they're going to do this, which means that, a bunch of different states are doing it in their own special way. For instance, Florida, this is special. The governor prioritized zip codes that are mostly Republican. And allowed the grocery chain store Publix to be the sole distributor. Publix donated heavily to the governor's campaign. Isn't that nice? And this is also something that's happening in California. Healthcare workers have to leave their job at a healthcare facility in order to go to a pharmacy chain or Costco to get vaccinated instead of getting the vaccination at work. So you not only are you like a frontline worker that's being coughed on like all fucking day by people with a deadly virus, but then in order to get a vaccination for said deadly virus, you can't just stay at your job. You have to go to fucking Costco. Are you kidding? Like, where are these? Are they handing them out next to the fucking hot dogs? Like, that's fucking absurd. Like, and
it's like, those free food samples they have at Costco. It's like that, but they give you a wiener dog and inject you at the same time.
And of course, this is, and as somebody, again, with the issue of class and race, of course, this is a class issue. And this is a profit issue, because if we look at the money that's been dumped into this, the US government spent $12.4 billion on what was known as Operation Warp Speed to produce vaccines, using private corporations that are now charging again for those vaccines. So we paid for the R&D, that's research and development, we being taxpayers. And then the government says again, well, but obviously we have to pay for the vaccine that we paid to fucking come up with. Yes, of course, here, have more profits. So instead of making sure that this vaccine is accessible to fucking everybody everywhere, there's all of these, contracts that have to be signed, and you get this much for the vaccine and you get that much, and competing in the marketplace. You got like Pfizer and Moderna, now you got Johnson and shit.
As we covered before, Bill Gates actually made sure that these vaccines would not be open source, so that other countries could develop them and save themselves. Mm-hmm. By the way, quick note, we were going to wrap up at 7:45, but if we get, let's say, $75 in the next 10 minutes, we'll stay till 8 o'clock. That's Eastern time. If we get $75, that all these donations are going to people in need, and we will bring you more details about their stories next week. But yeah, and if you are someone in need who would, need some help, then email us at commoncensored@protonmail.com. So thank you, Levon.
Doesn't show up on my end. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So appreciate it. Can we get another 65? That's my math skills right there. It took me that long to subtract 10 from 75, y'all. Woohoo.
Oh man, Volante. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Volante.
So we're almost there. We're $15 short, I think. Thank you so much, everybody. You're incredibly generous, and the people who have already emailed us seeking help, I'm sure, will be incredibly thankful.
Yes, indeedy.
Yes, $15 more, and we'll stay an extra 10 minutes. But let's see, what do we have? One more topic, or no? I guess we're going to your topic. So please feel free to shift the subject to anything else. We would like to take ideas from you. And there's a lot of great things coming up. By the way, this week, Eleanor just got 2 more honors for her film, Hard Road of Hope, which you can watch at hardroadofhope.com. If you haven't seen it, you're fucking out of your mind, man. You're out of your mind. It's at hardroadofhope.com. I don't know if you remember the two festivals that it just
yes,
into.
one was the Voices Rising Film Festival, and the other was the North Dakota Environmental Rights Film Festival. So
there you go. It has it's received 13 awards. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
It's received 13 awards already. Totally incredible, this documentary. I hope everybody checks it out. And everybody who donates, if you email and let us know that you donated, we will send you the free PDF of my book, Bullet Points and Punchlines.
Thanks so much, y'all. Anthony, thank you. That's 15.
No, do we get the 5? We're
yeah,
5
we got the
short.
5. Now
we got.
now
we got the 5 Canadian. What do you? That doesn't count.
5
okay.
Canadian.
Yeah, it was Canadian.
Oh. Well, we got the 10 pounds, which is more than 10.
Now we got 10 pounds from Lucy and $10 from Anthony. All right, we're staying the extra time. You did it. You did it. You win. Fine, people.
And real quick, I'll just write it in the
Yeah, go ahead. I also have some big interviews coming up this week. I have Lillian House, who is facing, she's already been arrested, but she's facing years in prison for protesting peacefully to get an investigation into Elijah Cummings.
Yes.
The death of Elijah Cummings in Denver. These PSL protesters led an impressive amount of protests to demand an investigation. That investigation has now just come out, showing that the police did murder this young man with no reasoning behind it. He was unarmed. It's totally horrific. And so so it's all been vindicated. Like, what do you do when an unarmed fucking innocent person is murdered by police? You fucking protest to get investigation. Now we have that investigation with the results of it, and they were right. And yet Lillian House and others are facing years in prison for organizing those protests.
Decades.
I will have her on this week. I will also have Stephen Donziger, the lawyer who has been, they say we don't have political prisoners in the United States. You're goddamn right we do. I will also have Stephen Donziger, who is the lawyer who represented the largest ever successful case against an oil company. This is the case against Chevron. Sorry, not Chevron. This is Chevron. Yeah. Chevron bought Texaco. Yeah. So it started out as Texaco, then it became Chevron in Ecuador, and he won, and billions of dollars for the indigenous that have been just massacred down there by this pollution, by this crude oil, disgusting, horrific corporate sacrifice zone. And so they've had him on house arrest for over a year now. It's like a year and a half in his apartment in New York City for being a lawyer. It's totally fucking crazy.
And somebody just mentioned Mumia is a political prisoner. Mumia also has COVID. It's been confirmed. So there were actions today in Philly. Was it today? There were actions in Philly to demand his release, and folks can find out more about that by I'll try to see if I can find the exact org that was organizing that. But it's fucking it's not good.
Thank you, CMAC, for the donation on Rockfin. Thank you, John Hughes. John Hughes wants us to do, I told you about this, wants us to do the political vigilante game show, Graham Elwood's game show.
Oh, I heard about that. I don't understand what I'm supposed to, see, this makes me nervous because I'm like, what do I have to know? What do I have to know because I don't know who won the FEMA Cup in 1984. I don't know this shit.
Did you say FEMA Cup?
Yeah, FEMA. The World Cup. Duh.
It's not called FEMA.
It's not?
No, that's the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Oh my God. What if there was a FEMA Cup? That'd be hilarious. But at the end of it, it's like the old Incan game or the Mayan game where they die. Where they behead
the people.
You wouldn't like to see some FEMA people beheaded at the end of a soccer game. I mean, come on.
Anyway, no, I don't think it's sports questions. Yes, it's FIFA, not FEMA. But
you are correct, folks. Thank you. Wow, Freudian slip. I wonder what that means. Like, what is that?
Well, when you say you don't watch sports, you've just proven it's not a lie. You've just proven you're not like trying to virtue signal. I don't even watch sports. You're like,
no, I would have come up with something better than FEMA. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. That was see. This is why I can't. I'm afraid of the game show. I'll just be a laughing stock.
Thank you, Nero. See, he's not fiddling.
Fiddling? I don't get it. What does that mean?
Fiddling while Rome burns.
Oh, I see. Okay. I wasn't sure if that, yeah, never mind. Okay. Yes. People are having a good time with what the FEMA Cup would look like.
Yes,
so, you
they
know
are.
what? Y'all, I'm glad that I could bring that little bit of
joy
to your lives by fucking up.
Someone just said, watch out for those FIFA camps.
Oh, right. God damn it.
That's where they make you play soccer inside cages. I mean, yeah. See, that's why you come here. You come here for us to show that we have a lot of political knowledge and very little sports knowledge.
True. Okay, this is true. But I was never that into football, the actual football, not American football, which is not football because in order for it to be football, you have to have a foot and a ball.
Oh my God.
Okay, all right.
Hold on, that's not even the one I meant. Anyway, oh, here it is.
Well, again,
I think we've just created a meme. Yes, thank you, American of Color, who just donated as well. All of your donations are going to people who are pretty desperate, and as you know, like a lot of people out there are very desperate right now across America, internationally. It's worse in America, as we know, in multiple ways. But the way that capitalism and consumerism connected to capitalism is destroying our world is not specific to America, obviously, and that's I think part of why you guys are tuning in from so many different countries. So thank you for that. Yes,
thank you so much for that. John, unfortunately, to answer your question, not really. If anything, there's just been a severe push to protect fracking in Texas after the storms, because what happened after the storms is it was clear that oil and gas do not fucking get the job done, and they couldn't protect people. There was a lot of propaganda around the problem of the blackouts being linked to frozen wind turbines, and then literally, like the head of the power grid in Texas came out and said, "Nope,
Thank you, Jim.
That's not accurate at all. It was actually frozen. What's it called? It was a problem of frozen. What's it like? Not gear, but
infrastructure.
It was frozen infrastructure. Well, not really that word either, but it was frozen infrastructure at oil and gas plants, coal plants, and even nuclear power plants, which if you want anything to freeze and break, it's at a nuclear power plant, right?
But on top of that, they had never built up the infrastructure to deal with a greater demand than normally was needed. They had basically, like, it just wasn't profitable for them to prepare for that level of cold. So they didn't prepare for it, and the whole system collapsed. And now you have people getting electric bills for $10,000. It's fucking crazy.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy.
I will do my best to stay funky. But yeah, so the smear campaign against sustainable energy was very fast, because they knew that they had fucked up. So they had to find a story so that people didn't get to the real story, which is, of course, that oil and gas are horrific, both in terms of creating climate chaos, but then in terms of responding to climate chaos vis-a-vis all of the extreme weather that folks are experiencing, including in Texas and other parts of Oklahoma and things like that.
Oh, you're not going to read it out loud?
You know what? No, I am, because I can make fun of myself, and I will own this. I will own this because Also, I'm wondering, can anybody create a graphic for the FEMA Cup that I can print out and put on my wall? Because I would totally do that. If anyone does, I mean, I'm just saying.
Or FIFA camps.
No, I don't want pictures of camps. I want the FEMA Cup where at the end,
FEMA Cup,
the head of FEMA gets beheaded. That's just, can somebody create that graphic? Because that would make me super happy.
So then you got FEMA, FIFA, and Mayans all together into one.
It's a blend. It's a blend. Like a fine wine, if you will. So yes, thank you, Nick, for that.
Thank you, Karen and John. It's our first dual donation.
And thank you for supporting literally and with your comment the concept of this.
Karen and John get it. They get it. That's the idea. Solidarity. We work together. We help us.
Yes, we keep us safe.
We keep us safe.
Yes. Wow. And thank you for all of the comments and questions and.
So sushi lover. Whoa.
I'm sorry, I didn't know where you wanted.
So sushi lover. By the way, good food choice. I don't know anything about NDP Vancouver Kingsway virtual executive meeting, but I know that Canada. I did see that Canada was having a meeting to deal with the Uyghur genocide. And basically, this is Canadian empire, Canadian colonialism, working together in concert with U.S. colonialism, empire, propaganda. And it's tough to say with a lot of these representatives whether it's just that they believe the propaganda garbage, because I think some of them legit do. I think some of them read Reuters or read New York Times, and they think that is the be-all, end-all of truth. And therefore, New York Times said genocide, it's a genocide. I mean, that's what we're seeing with Democracy Now! I did a long segment based on the gray zone reporting of how this is not a genocide. It may be there may be racism, absolutely, but that's not a genocide. We have racism here in the United States, and it's fucking awful. And it's not a genocide currently. It used to be. But anyway, so I know that Canada is now meeting to deal with this threat of genocide, which is fucking propaganda horseshit designed to create at least a Cold War against China and possibly some sort of hot war. But of course, then you get into nuclear annihilation. So let's hope we don't go down that road, shall we? And nuclear scientists are saying that we're 30 seconds to midnight on the nuclear clock, and yet here we are trying to create propaganda so that we get to the cusp of Armageddon against fucking world powers. It's absolutely insane. It's insane on a do you want this world to exist? Do you want people to live? We have enough nuclear bombs to kill humankind 150 times over. And, my only question, as I said on Redacted Tonight, is what happens when you run out? What if you want to bomb someone again?
Is an important question.
What if you want to destroy humankind again? Because I bet you after seeing billions of people die, you might be a little edgy. Might want a cigarette and to shoot a nuclear bomb. And what are you going to do? You ran out, 15,000, all gone.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Preach, sister. Any last minute donations for the?
Yes, you've got 4 minutes.
Your 4 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. The clock's over there. It's wrong.
Well, that says 3 minutes.
It said 4 when I said 4 minutes. Jesus. I want to talk to management.
Hey, okay. I said FEMA Cup. You have to be able to not tell time. This is the deal here. Okay.
All right. Yeah,
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Old Unshaven One, thank you. Good
Old
question.
Unshaven One gets in under the wire.
This is not the same mutual aid as we donated to a few months ago. This is y'all.
This is our own personal mutual aid.
Yeah. So this is the viewers and listeners of this and Common Censored and Moment of Clarity getting assistance. So it is our little what we might call in the biz the mutual aid pod. It's our little pod.
It's like the give a penny take a penny cup at the store, except it's give $100 take $100.
Which if you don't remember what that was, or you're too young to know, then that was.
Oh come on, people know the little thing would sit right there.
I haven't seen that since like 2004, 2005.
I hope everyone here was alive in 2004.
well, I mean, they would not necessarily.
Unless
There
we
are
have-
some woke fucking 13-year-olds.
That's
Let me
true.
just point out,
That's
like,
true.
holy shit, I continue to be amazed and impressed with young folks these days. I can say that now. But yeah, I continue to be impressed and amazed. The young folks are waking up at, perhaps it's depressing that they are waking up this fast because there's a more pressing need, but there is a lot of political education going around in those spaces that I didn't really see when I was that age. So that's fucking cool. So thank you all so much. We are going to head out now, but y'all have been awesome. Thank you so much for all of the donations. They are going back to you, to this community. And we're going to start doing it. This will be a thing that we do. So please do, if you're watching this after the fact, you can donate at Lee Camp on Venmo. And yeah, please come hang out with us next time. We'll answer some more questions, talk more news, and hang out with y'all.
And last thing, remember that in order to get your free PDF of my book, if you donated, you have to email commoncensored@protonmail.com. Don't forget that.
The more you know. And serious about that graphic of the FEMA Cup, folks. Just, think about it.
Lucy's on it. Lucy's on it.
Oh, sweet. All right. Thanks, y'all, so much.
Keep fighting.
Act out.